Today I'm going to talk about smart law and Web3 skills. So I'm Scott Stevenson. I have a JD. I do not practice law because I'm having too much fun doing all this Web3 stuff. That's my LinkedIn profile. As far as how long I've been involved in blockchain, one of my oldest accounts that I set up in Web3, and it was over 1,800 days ago. So that puts me just over 5 years from the kind of the very beginning when I first heard about Ethereum. And so I've been just trying to learn over the last several years. I've explored things like generative art and NFTs and adding things like royalties that are embedded within the code of the NFT, then also super embedding information directly in the underlying content. So it'd be like me putting metadata actually into an image and then creating an NFT based on that image that had deep embedded metadata. That's me personally. What I'd like to do within LexDAO moving forward is come up with some practical applications that we release. Started in this several years ago, that nothing was really built yet. Where I wanted to participate is where the law intersects blockchain and decentralized node-based structures. So I've been building my skill set, and now I think I'm finally ready to release some things out into the wild. And I think it's a good place to at least start talking to LexDAO members about it to see maybe how we can develop this together. I'm using the moniker Web3Skills, and this is also a website and an application. SmartLaw is kind of a function of Web3Skills, but it really has more of a specific purpose because it's based in law and not just general Web3 skills that any average user could use. I've fallen down into the metaverse because I think that is the best way to abstract out the complexities of the Web3 infrastructure and get people more involved, like in this gaming environment or this sort of fun thing, and show them that they can do it in a way that has nothing to do with a Web3 account. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to have any money. You just get into these open metaverses and you play around a little bit. At some point, the player will probably want to connect, and then that is how we're just going to show them a 1, 2, 3 step in order to connect to a metaverse with a Web3 account. And it could be looked at as just a disposable account. It's like a ticket when you go into an amusement park. At the end of the day, it's over. You can keep it as a souvenir. But I want to start experimenting with these like disposable public-private key pairs that people can even be somewhat careless with because it's not going to hold much of any value. What I want to do is wrap up with why I'm so interested in access tokens and achievement tokens. I want to explore that a little bit. And then I'll briefly go over like decentralized identities and profiles, where this is where probably the first place we're going to see mass adoption, because people can't onboard themselves into any sort of sufficient Web3 system without at least having an identity and a profile. It can be anonymous, or it can be like a public account like I have. So what do I want to accomplish here today? I basically asked myself 5 questions and looking for the right time that we can start to lean into this technology and see if it's worthwhile for us to spend valuable time on it. So the first one is, what can we actually do for each other, and how decentralization will be leveraged within LexDAO working group. We're going to embrace the stewardship that everybody within LexDAO who wants to step forward and do something should get a channel and they should manage it. But we got to figure out more than me just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. We got to figure out what we can do for each other within here. The way that I can get there is like, what tools are available today? Meaning stuff we don't have to build, stuff that is tested enough that if we extended it out to a client or the outside world, would it backfire on us? Very important to me is, do we have a plan to help newcomers navigate Web3? I've seen so many people come in and out of DAOs because they don't understand, they don't know how to contribute, they don't feel that they're part of like the inside team. To make sure that when people come to a group like LexDAO, that we can onboard very, very quickly, but we don't need to send them down every single rabbit hole. Question number 4 that I want to answer is, what type of a reward system are going to be used? One of the reasons I went over to Metagame about a year ago is because they were using source cred. And I knew that if I could go into that group and show them how I could contribute with content and availability and showing up to community meetings, and then it rolls through this experience point system, and then eventually that comes back to the DAO, and then the DAO converts that into a native token, which has a liquidity pool behind it. If we can figure out systems like that, it's game changing, because the ways of negotiating within groups is algorithmic more than it is negotiating through a hierarchy of people. It's like, get in and contribute and you'll be rewarded. And then ultimately the question is, well, how are we going to fund this? And I want to figure out as a way that if what I'm working on can participate in that, and then assemble a team, write some grants, get some money. Maybe we'll just like put a Reg D or a Reg CF together. I don't really know the answers to that. The premise of this is like, why even bother with bounty? Because finding good people is really hard. And then keeping them involved in a project requires a reward system that's basically like you're employing these people. And sometimes we don't need a lot. We just might need aspects of the stack and not the full stack. So why even bother with them? Well, I'll tell you why I bother with them. Because I have to build out a bunch of things. Like this is my hit list of all the things that I'm trying to do over the next year or two. So it's time to start very, very specific. And I'd say these are the things that I'll be working on every single week because I'm fully committed to all of this. So what tools do we have right now? Well, DWork's been amazing, I think. It handles a lot of the workflow and it handles a lot of putting it all together, all the way from Web3 to crypto to Kanbans to projects. Now, Web3Skills is really an application that you can go to that you can train yourself in Web3. So it's skills for Web3. And what that site does is when you go into it, you're really going to go down a route. And this route is really a rabbit hole in Web3. It's like a full college curriculum. And now those are all available through Web3Skills. I want to be very pure to Web3. So I've created a parcel in the metaverse, which ties into all of this very nicely. Like abstracting away the complexities of Web3 is very important to onboard people. So in this metaverse space, it's very easy to get in here. You don't need any credentials. But if you arrive at this one specific parcel, you'll see it'll be masked out. You won't be able to see what's inside of it. But if you have the token, just the access token, basically you just have to be on a list, and then you get airdropped an 1155 token. If that resides in your Web3 account, you'll be able to access the clubhouse or the training room, but all of these different pies are actually going to be a hyperlink into the specific course. Web3Skills is training courses. And with these training courses, we will also be executing code and doing smart contracts and using decentralized nodes. The information goes deep, but we want to get people at least on the track that they care most about. And a lot of this is going to be self-guided, but then there has to be live activities too, like call them labs that we're going to do so we can be there helping the people through. Now, what do we need out of this is people that can look at the content within Web3Skills and say, look, I'm good at that. I've done a lot of that too. And I'm saying, great, you're on board. You're the new curator of that. And now you're going to get rewarded. And how are we going to get rewarded? Well, it's going to be through money. And it's going to be through, if you spend your time and you're qualified, you're going to get money because people are going to be paying for these tokens to get the content. So it's really as simple as that. And everybody's going to be a 1099 contractor of wherever the money's coming in. So it'll come into a DAO or a bank account, and then the money's going to get dispersed. Sort of simple, like just normal ways of conducting business. So what is Web3Skills specifically? Well, these are some of the categories. There's going to be just some developer tools. That's like stack stuff. Infrastructure and resource, the tools that are used to run websites and probably databases. Decentralized identities and authentications, DAOs, decentralized finance, actually a full course on blockchains and nodes, and then legal tech, running APIs for legal documents. So you can sort of semi-automate the law, the mock court and doing things in voxels to ADR. So there's a lot in Web3Skills already that's built out in here. Maybe there's 200 resources for legal tech. And then I'll want, a person basically curating the legal tech part of it. And I think there's people in Lexdow already that are qualified to do that. So this is just my acronyms for the different courses. So there's the core courses, the developer journey, the decentralized identity, blockchains and nodes, the DAO journey, the DeFi journey, Metaful power, design tools, legal tech, design assets, bonus resources, and special guest courses. I assume that as we get rolling on this, people will come forward and they'll probably want to have like one-time events. They'll throw their resources together. They're really like a subject expert on something. So they'll be running that course. So how does this work? Like I said, well, there's NFTs. I have a 1155 minting contract that I've been working on, and it does really amazing thing. Then once we airdrop in the 1155 access token, it gets you to the lobby. It gets you into the area where you get access to all these tools. There'll be videos on the wall that you can do, learn on demand. Then you're going to want to get your token for the actual course. So you'll get then the 1155 token will also be attached to your wallet. And now that accessing the information that's available on the Web3Skills website. What's really cool about Web3Skills is I've taken a lot of the tools of people that we even know in this. Austin Griffith started working with ETH Build, way to learn blockchains. You string things together in little modules and then you click them and they execute visually so you can see what's happening. We started at a really like basic level. So people that almost had no technical skill can probably figure out what a Unix timestamp means. So those type of tools are like threaded throughout Web3Skills, and our job is to curate it down. Okay, so this is what the Web3 Skills donut looks like, and I think it's time just to kind of jump in there real quick. Okay, so this goes to the live website right now. The way that this site works is there's this interactive donut in the middle, and if you imagine like this pie, and each slice of the pie is going to be a specific course. But if you wanted to dig down into that piece of pie, you got to kind of like get your fork and dig down in there because you need to see what's inside that pie. Now, there's another way to look at all the courses within graph type. So if you go into graph type and you don't like that donut, you can also do it traditionally where you can just unlock all of the courses this way so you can start to see what's in there. So that would be the tree. If you get used to the donut, you can really start to navigate things very quickly. So if you knew you were taking the legal tech course, you would just click legal tech. And then what happens in here, now it flies out. So then you can look like, okay, well, what are we trying to do in legal tech? Oh yeah, what's LexDAO in the open law part? So what do I have in here? I got like all of these things, open law. Let's see where this hyperlink goes. Oh, right, I don't have the access token, so I can't actually see the resource. So I have another site where they're all unlocked in there. So in the meantime, this is like if you want to see what's in your syllabus and you're not, and you want to join Web3 Skills, and there's like a ton of stuff in here. So part of the curator needs to go in here and says, well, what of the LexDAO stuff is important? And we've got the court portals over here and all these API calls and this open law stuff over here. So the way that you navigate it is just you click the middle logo and then I'll take you back up a level. So if you want to explore some of the other courses, like, well, what's in the DevJ? Well, let's do data caching. Oh, that's right. I got to get the token first. And so the way that it would know if I had the token or not is I would need to be signed into the account. And then if I was signed into the account, then it would be able to query to know that I held the token that is the access token to at least see the content. So that's it for Web3 Skills. What do I personally need out of it? Well, if LexDAO is going to be involved, the legal tech piece of the pie, we should get a couple people together that are really into this type of thing. They don't even have to have like technical knowledge. They just need to know about tools that we use. And then I train somebody at least on what I know. And then maybe they would be the curator. I'm the instructor for the legal tech course within Web3 Skills. So why do I say Web3 Skills SmartLaw? Why do I put those two things together? Well, like Web3 Skills is a bunch of stuff. If you're just trying to get like some legal tech stuff, you don't need to know about full stack development. You don't need to know about design assets. But SmartLaw has a specific purpose. But one thing SmartLaw, it's not going to be legal advice. So if people are going to work in SmartLaw, we have to make sure that everybody at least reads this document. This is what I can do for you. I want to help you, but I can't give you advice. So what is SmartLaw? Well, in essence, SmartLaw is Web3 legal engineering. Well, what does this mean? Well, does this have legal implications? Well, a lot of it does because you're asking people to sign in and they're trusting you with private information. SmartLaw is actually things like achievement tokens, access tokens, and gated content. Well, this is a framework that I'm very, very comfortable with. And now if people have these tokens, now we want them to be able to do things with it. And let's just say we want them to log into a system, the Web3 system, but we want to make sure that this is done the right way. And if you're a legal engineer, you should be able to navigate between the technical aspects of it, the buttons, what the buttons do, how things unfold and people are checking boxes, terms and conditions, all those things are super important. So what else is SmartLaw? Well, SmartLaw is scheduling. We operate within a system, either a back-end database or a public database, but we want to start using these Web3 tools. I've picked some really powerful templates and I've started customizing them for Web3 and for workflow. So I've got a calendar that's part of this website. What else is SmartLaw? These instructors within Web3 Skills. It's going to be a dashboard for the instructors. Every instructor will have the autonomy to issue tokens. And there's a bunch of different types of tokens that can be issued to show how these instructors that are part of the system are creating the flywheel for their own reward system because they're the ones that are actually issuing these tokens. And these tokens won't only be non-transferable tokens, but there'll be other tokens that they'll have access to. From an ERC20 that we have a liquidity pool for, it can be access tokens for, special content or special events. All the curators will have the autonomy and they'll have their own dashboard to keep track of what they've distributed and what they have access to. So these are just some images of the thing that we're going to use. These are just like placeholders down here, but like every curator instructor will have their own place and there'll be stuff that we do in business all the time. So we're just trying to put it in a Web3 context. So also within the system, it does invoicing, which is real nice. It's basically an entire CRM. We can link it up to databases. We can link it up directly to IPFS. We can link it up to blockchain. Well, what else is SmartLaw? It's metaverse stuff. This is like an entire built out area that's like lessons. So we have these like little training centers. These will become more commonplace in the future, that instead of showing up for a call where everybody's on audio, you'll probably be in here within your either work outfit, but you're actually getting a lot of really good information. And everything up on the walls right here can be dynamically changed out, or it can just stay static and it's open 24/7. It's like you walk in there and you're going to learn something if you just know how to navigate it. So I took all of the existing LexDAO members from the contract that LexDAO issued, and then I'm going to issue another token based on that list. And then this access token is going to give all of the LexDAO members access to this parcel, which is gated off to everybody else in the world, unless you have that token. So that's a way to practice what we preach, to look for sort of real low-hanging fruit areas. Well, pet licensing is really interesting in the state of California because it's on a local level. Like, local city has to figure out what the rules are for licensing pet, and every single one of them then has a payment provider, but it's a very, very antiquated system. There's counties too. County says, look, we're going to handle the pet licensing. So then the county does it, and they've got to distribute everything back to the cities with the tags and the information. So the local, patrol people that go out and give you a ticket because your dog's off the leash or it's doesn't have a rabies certificate, that all then is all on local law enforcement. So I built out a parcel in here that's Civic Center, and it takes care of everything from pet licensing to small claims courts to city permits and recording a mortgage. Now, none of these things are programmed in yet because obviously that takes time. We just have to start implementing it. Either the Lego has already been built, there's some smart contract that exists that's been audited, and we just have to create a proper front end for it, or one of those existing smart contracts and strip them down for a very, very simple purpose, and then start delivering it out to the businesses that say, I don't understand any of that Web3 stuff. Well, we just need to build them for them. We just have to customize them for their use case. And in a lot of cases, customization simply means a front-end website. But I'm going to continue to build out the ADR in here. And once I get it well crafted, there'll be documents, forms, in the framework of how things can be resolved. Circumventing the court system is already very well spelled out for us. That I was an early user of General Order 34 in the Northern District of California, where I was able to fast track a lawsuit because I was a small guy and they were a monster company, and I was able to get them to the table relatively inexpensively. And so I really sort of fell in love with that fast track court system, and it's only improved. The metaverse and voxels that I've built out, it follows a civil lawsuit through an ADR system, all the way from the forms that need to be filled out to civil procedure, to the discovery, who's going to get paid what, how do you pick your arbitrator, etc. There's a lot of opportunity there to continue to get a system that exists in the metaverse, which then goes nicely up to an actual courtroom. This has been fun for me to set up. What this does is it allows participants to adopt a real persona in a case, and then come up here and just automate the resolution of the case. So if you panel a set of LexDAO jurors and you give them a scoreboard, and then each side has to present their case, they have to be there at a specific time. All the documents get loaded up, then they'll be up on the wall so the juries can review them. And then when the cases are over, then it goes to the jury and they put their answers in a scorecard, and then that's thrown off into a blockchain or a snapshot vote or tallied. And then you've got your verdict right there. These avatars are kind of goofy right now, but these will also represent humans in a metaverse. Now, is it important to actually have somebody standing there in a goofy costume in the courtroom? Of course, it's not necessary. It's just, ones and zeros and on a blockchain and nodes, but it makes it a little bit more relatable. It's just like going up and you always see the same lawyer, or the judge is always outfitted in the same thing, or the court reporter. It just keeps your interest a little bit more, which I think we're all looking for a little bit of levity and something entertaining today. So LexDAO is already part of the metaverse. It's in this building right here. Courthouse is up here to the left. The training center is down below. Just beyond that is the NFT training center. So here's one owned by a LexDAO member. I don't own this parcel, but he gave me collaborative rights. So I came in and made it part of this scavenger hunt game. Could require access tokens to make access to it if we wanted to. Now it's just part of a bigger game that I set up through Metafest. What is Metaverse-Pro? The technology exists now for us to have these decentralized systems, and now you put the metaverse on top of that. It creates this avenue for businesses to do what they do best, which is like fidelity. What do they do? Well, they're financial services. What are they doing in the metaverse? Well, they are banking on that there's people that want to be entertained while they learn. So you get in here with your avatar and you follow these little signs, and eventually it's get to a point where it says, learn more about a 401k, or How are you investing your money? Or don't you know about retirement? So they just want to put people on these journeys future. They're going to show up in their flip-flops and they're going to wander around. And if they get distracted, they're going to go to the lake, look at the ducks, and then they're going to wander back when they're ready to digest the thing about the 401k. So Metaverse-Pro, it's basically taking some of these three-dimensional spaces and start building them out, similar to what Fidelity did. So what are we specifically going to do? Well, we're going to do in-world games. We're going to have hubs with portals and directories so you can fast travel to where the action is. We have group clubhouses and clubs, and that can be gated, so it could be private or public events. So there's some other things in here. We can do galleries, and I got LexDAO in here. It's a great place for your decentralized groups, treasure hunts, stage shows, and then there's team avatars as a jogging suit. But then on top of this outfit, these are voxel files. They're actually superimposed on the avatar, and it's full motion too. This guy's doing a backflip, and this guy's doing a dance over here. This is the first time that I've seen that you can outfit an avatar with both an outfit and these voxel images alone. Okay, so why am I so interested in digital assets and tokens? Well, for the most part, I think that a digital token can be a lot of things, and it's changing depending on the use case. Two, we're going to have to figure out what tokens mean to us over time. And I've tried to just split it up into two simple sections. This website right here, it's kind of like a super app, but it's going to also handle a lot of the Web3Skills administrative aspect, taking care of instructors, like who the instructors are. There's all kinds of dashboards in here, the open project. It's a material UI template, super rich in features. And we've got this smart contract that makes all these tokens right now. It's at cred.freeweb3.com. You have to be a super user or at least have the permissions to mint tokens. So once you start working with me and you understand the system, you'll be able to mint your own tokens. Here was the one that I minted based on the existing LexDAO member list. So this is an access token that expires at the end of the year. These are the course tokens. This is the access token. So anybody with the access token would be able to make entry into these three-dimensional spaces or to get that gated content. But these courses down here will be the individual courses, so you'll require 2 tokens to participate in the system. This smart contract, and you can add up to 11 roles on the token, and these roles are everything from administrative to transferer to creator. There's all of these roles in here that can start to affect the token. Achievement tokens. I like access token and I like achievement tokens. And I believe achievement tokens should be non-transferable. Why? Because if you earn a credential like your diploma, you're not supposed to be able to transfer that to your brother. You're supposed to just keep it for yourself. Once we drop the 1155 in, it can be burned to a debt account, which means you can get rid of it, but you can't transfer it to anybody. So these are things that are built in to allow us this set of achievements that we can either through LexDAO or Web3Skills or whatever group wants to access these. If you wanted to get started, you'd take the noob course. So noob 1 is like show up. Okay, great. You got the teddy bear, noob 1. But then there's 6 layers down here. So by the time you get to layer 6 of the noob course, you're not a noob anymore. You know what's going on. And then you're going to pick a different course. It's a little bit different than Web3Skills. Web3Skills is like, here's a bunch of information. You're going to get access to it. We're going to help you kind of navigate it. But these are like a set of quests. So in order to get the level 6 noob token, you're going to have to like do 6 things. What those 6 things are? Well, the instructor and the curator of that course will figure it out, but at least they've got a starting set within my 2,500 resources that we can use and kind of curate that together. What are access tokens? Well, they're different from achievement tokens. The use case that I like to use is an insurance claim. So everybody like has a role. And that goes back to the 1155 tokens. So if we know what role these people are going to have, we assign it. And so if we know the judge isn't going to be privy to anything until the court case has started, that the judge will have a certain type of token. The litigants will have a certain type of token. The doctor will have a certain type of token. An existing tool called the LIT protocol. The LIT protocol allows you to take content, let's say a medical report, encrypt it, put it there on IPFS, and then through their system, based on your credentials and connected to the Web3 account, you will then get a copy of that unencrypted report. So here I've got in here, it's like damage to auto and an invoice from the doctor. And so we can play this out one day. It takes a couple hours to do. And then what else can we do with tokens? Gated parcels, using it to gain access to content, using member lists, mint additional tokens, level up tokens. This is the example of a gated parcel. So if you go into voxels and you don't have the token or you're anonymous, you will come up to one of these buildings and you won't be able to gain access to it. But once you click the connect button, simply sign a simple mathematical transaction through something like MetaMask and is indicating to the website that you have this credential. With this credential, then what happens is the walls drop and then you get access actually to the parcel. Within this parcel then will be all the Web3 Skills courses. So you can go in anonymously, wander around this world, get acquainted with it, then connect your Web3 wallet that you have connected. Then this will become visible to you. There's a bunch of different courses, provided that we have the instructor, the curating the content, and being able to be there for, you don't have to be an expert at it. You just need to be able to know the content and what's within that specific pie within Web3 skills. I said every skill has 6 layers. Quest number 1, skill number 1 for the noob is learn what a Web3 address even is. And then now you're going to navigate in the metaverse. And now you're going to connect your Web3 account to a browser. You're going to execute a blockchain transaction. Well, that sounds scary, but we make it real simple. And then you're going to query a token and an account on Etherscan, and then you're going to obtain a player avatar wearable. So when you go into a place like the metaverse, you click a button and all of a sudden you've got a funny hat on. And so then that would get you through. Now that you've got your 6 badges, your non-transferable achievements that are now attached to whatever Web3 account you used for your educational purposes. This is just kind of more of the same about how we will represent the different tokens and progress within them. So I just use the noob token as an example. Well, all right, well, I guess it sounds good. What are we supposed to do next? And these are basically out to like legacy Web 2 companies. They're like, okay, what do we do? Okay, well, it's going to cost you $500. Well, what do we get? Well, you're going to get a couple hours with a pro. We're going to mint you 100 tokens. You know what? You want access tokens? You want achievement tokens? And if you like it, you can use it for team building. You can use it for employee of the month. You can use it for whatever you want, but we want you to see it's an immutable token and it has purpose. And once we can start getting the big cheese of the company that doesn't know anything about it, calls HR and says, issue some more of those tokens. People loved them. They went to the barbecue and everybody that was at the barbecue got a token. So give them another token. So for $500, we'll do that. And then we'll give you a wearable. So if we can get them into the metaverse for a special event, everybody can be wearing the same t-shirt with the company logo on it. So we're trying to make that like entry price point real low. So people are like, okay, yeah, $500, no problem. Level it up from there, like customize an NFT mint for you. We'll still give you your 2 hours. We're going to give you your wearables. And then we're going to give you a promotional booth in the metaverse. It's like a permanent trade show booth. You're going to get 3 wings, a backdrop, and 2 sidekicks. And you're going to put up PDFs and it's going to hyperlink to your website. So we'll do that for $2,500. So then I just leveled it up for there. And I don't need to get into what the $7,600 one is because it'll take more than 4 minutes. So wrapping it up within decentralized identities and profiles, it's super important for people to start to understand that nobody's standing in the way from anybody taking advantage of this system. So what I do in one of these websites that's called users.onelaw.us. And if you go in here and you simply right click, inspect it, and you go console, and you'll see right here, there is a public and a private key pair. If I cut and pasted this into MetaMask right now, I would now have a new Web3 address that only I could control. But this isn't stored anywhere. Okay, so you'll see this one, it ends in A40. If I just keep pushing refresh on my, it's just going to keep giving me new ones. So now it's a different one now. And I do it again, and I'm going to get a different one. And I could just keep adding accounts to MetaMask. I think that's very important to get across to people that this is just math we're talking. It's this part of a private key in combination with a public key that you can expose to the public. You can secure asset. And it really shouldn't be much more complicated than that. So that's it for me. I am Tim Finney. We could get into this maybe next time where we talk about profiles and decentralized identities and vaults and things like that. But I want people to start at the beginning. And if we can give them a training course to go through, say, hey, you're new to LexDAO? Okay, well, we have these things available to you. Go down your rabbit holes. But if you need us, we're always going to be